Hello there, how are you all? Alright Klondike, alright Richard, Tommy's Workshop, hi Gav. Just an impromptu, quick get together, any new turners out there that aren't at work and want to ask any questions regarding sanding. Hiya Tony, hiya Chris. I've got a bit of a problem here a minute, hang on. Always the way, isn't it? Always the way. Knock that down. I see what I'm doing wrong. Here we go. And then over there. That's better. Okay. Anyway, how are you all? Alright, John. Fixing furniture. Hello, Miss T. How are you? John S. Wood carving. Tommy's Woodshop. I've said hello to you already, I think. I'll tell you the only reason I was doing something. Oh, hang on, let's change. I was doing something on the lathe, and I thought I'd got about half an hour, so I just thought I'd pop on and say hello and see if anybody's got any questions on regarding sanding, because I feel, and I don't know if the more experienced turners agree, that unfortunately, especially the newer turner, spends a lot of time turning and precious little time finishing, sanding, preparing the surface for your final finish, whether it be a wax, an oil, whatever, because any little imperfections will be picked up. Once you apply even your sanding sealer, you might get some darker marks where there's a tiny bit of tear out and it's absorbed more sanding sealer and it goes dark. So I just wondered whether or not anybody would be interested, and certain bits of equipment that I use, bits that I've made to make sanding certain pieces a little safer than and keeping your fingers out of the way of corners, etc. Alright Fred, how are you? Just a basic, hello there, how are you? Di Prout, good afternoon Di, how are you? I think most of these wood carving from Italy, hello there, how are you? I think most of the guys on here have got a fair bit of experience actually, so if there are some newer turners on here, then you can obviously add your thoughts as well. We'll just have a quick break for what you know why the break is coming. I think what I'll do actually, I'll carry on with what I was going, the content of what I was going to use, or what I was going to say. It's alright, how are you? Gerard, you're not late mate, I didn't even prepare for this, I just had an impromptu idea, that's all. When sanding, I've got a couple of videos and many other people have as well. When you're actually sanding a piece, when you finish turning it, quite often when you start with, let's say, 180 or 120 grit, whatever, the most important thing is to keep an even pressure all the way through the sanding for all the grits, because the psychological leaning is always, as you get to the finer grits, you ease off on that pressure. So that is a very important thing to take into account when you're sanding. Klondike Crown is so funny, I was watching videos 7 years ago on the TV and this popped up on my oh well, sorry to have torn you away from the TV. As I say, it's only going to be about half an hour, if that actually. Oh dear, CH Maximus says I pay good money just to hear you say Yorkshire grit and Hampshire sheep. Oh dear. Yes, I do use that. PL Wood Turning, hello there, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Thanks for popping in for this impromptu gathering. Terry Bartlett, hello there. From Plymouth Wood Turners, good afternoon to you. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along. Christine and Michael, is it Christine or is it Michael? I hope you're both well. Hopefully one day we'll meet again at another show when things ease off a little bit. Sold. Okay, CH, then it's sold to you. Okay, so what I was saying is basically I haven't got anything prepared on the lathe apart from what I'm actually doing at the moment. It's not so much a class on sanding technique, but things to use while you're sanding. We often just use our hands on spindle work, that's fine, and on the majority of bowls as well. I happen to prefer using, and this is not an advert, an inertia sander. This happens to be one from Simon Hope. You can get different heads and you can go through the grits. Very good on bowls. I actually use this type of sanding thing when I'm actually even doing spindles, because it negates radial marks. But again, you must keep the same pressure right the way through the grits. Simon also does an extension arm, which is great for getting into vases and hollow forms which have got a wide enough opening, obviously. Now these are all well and good. Now I use those on a regular basis, but for sanding something like this piece, which is eventually going to be a potpourri bowl, a 3-cornered potpourri bowl. I'll be making a lid for it and making holes in the lid, a little finial. Now when you're sanding an item like this, you can easily use your drill, and this again is a little arbor where you can just fit in. You just fit in your pads through the grits. Now, not a problem doing this area here, because you're right out of the way of the wings. Now, when you start to think about the wings and the corners, you've obviously got a lot of air. So if you're slightly out here, you're going to get it catching and it's going to ruin your work. So because I've got arthritis and I've got no dexterity in my fingers, I just got a piece of dowel, and on that piece of dowel I stapled on some loop. Okay, now on that loop, these are the sanding pads, and I can just put the sanding pad on to there, and then I can actually, well, on this one I wouldn't have it spinning, but I can sand away here without having to put extra pressure on my hands and everything else, and it's really good. Well, of course, these again can be used when you're sanding a vase or something deeper, and your hands will stay away from the spinning edge. And I've got several. I've got a thin piece of dowel with the same idea. I've even got a flat one which I use as well, and a sort of a medium-sized one. So these are the sort of things you've got to, as a newer turner, try and think out of the box, and don't take a chance, because if you are turning something like this and you get your fingers caught in there, believe you me, it's going to hurt. So those are the sort of things that you've got to think about. The other thing as well, when you're doing let's have a look if there are any questions. Sorry, I'm ranting on here. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. No. Hello Chris, how are you? You like these surprises? I don't like surprises myself. Have I missed any questions? I don't think so. Andrew Wyatt, good afternoon. Lionel Peugeot, good afternoon to you. I'm just going back over the chat just to say hello to people I've missed. Brickhouse, good afternoon to you. Di Prout, I've said hello to. I'll say hello again. IDR, hello. And I think I've said hello to everybody that's actually in at the moment. It's also, as I've said before, hello Gav. I've said before that, you know, it's an opportunity to get together and have a chat together in the chat as well. So it just sort of gets a little get together. I like that idea. I use a split stick, but I like the loop idea, says Miss T. Yeah, the thing is, T, I did that to begin with. I had the split. But you can pick this loop up really inexpensively on eBay, and I buy it in a couple of meters that'll last me for years, and it's handy for other stuff as well. But this just gives you that flexibility, even if you've got Abranet, because Abranet will stick on anything, will stick on them that's got the hook on the backing, and quite a lot of sandpapers do now, or abrasives. Hi Kevin Ryan, how are you? Quick question, what speed did you use to sand? It does depend on the piece and the type of wood. If I'm hand sanding with, let's say that, okay, if I'm hand sanding with a non-powered sanding situation, again depending on the wood, I would think something around, I don't know, 300-400 RPMs. If I'm using the drill to sand, I have it on the lower setting, and again about 300 RPM, something of that nature, and I find that works quite well. If I'm sanding a spindle, I have to be honest, and I'm using the inertia sander, I will sand at something like 800 RPM, because I only go back and forth a couple of times on each one, so it doesn't build up any heat. And I'll just go through the grits with 2, maximum 3 passes with a light touch. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, Hodge, they're great. I have to say, and I have to give a mention to Simon. Simon has got this piece here, which is also brilliant, because you can actually put it on the tool rest, you can angle the head as you want, and you're well away from any danger. But if you don't want to go to that, the advantage there, you're getting the inertia effect when you're sanding, which does. Now my wife is just returned, she might come in. If she does, I'll just have to go for a second to say hello to her, because she doesn't like being involved in anything like this at all. So I'll just have to mute myself and put the break screen on until I've told her to go away. Okay, let's just see any more questions. Quick question from Gerard. Yep. I've seen on YouTube some turners using shavings to take the excess wax before buffing. Yes, you can do that. If we go to the next stage, we've prepared the surface. You can use that on wax. You can actually use that for denibbing your sanding sealer. Shavings are a good option for buffing. A lot of people actually will just buff with shavings and that's it, and leave it like that. Excuse me for 1 second. Just to let you know, I'm just live for a minute, alright? Yeah. Well, we've got that last one. Sorry about that. Okay, hope that answered your question, Gerard. He was on Lewis and talking about Captain Tom. Yeah, an amazing inspiration that man was. Fixing furniture. No, it's funny that I've asked her several times when I do a proper live to come in, but she's not interested, which is fair enough. Mike Hugh, hello there from Ilminster. How are you? Frederick Day, I had an Axminster sander, but the arbor stuck in the handle. Had a bit in the end, and your mic was still on. Oh, was it? All right then, I don't mind. My mic was still on. That's strange, couldn't it? Shouldn't be. Anyway, never mind. Quick question. Yeah, will that not leave streaks on the wood? Oh, no, it shouldn't do. No, it shouldn't do, Gerard. You mean using the shavings? I don't personally do it, but then having said that, it seems to be, you're basically burnishing with your wood shavings. That's what you're doing. Hi, Greg. Oh well, if you've heard me tell my wife, that's okay, Frederick. We're all friends here. So I've lost my train of thought now. Can't think what I was going to say. Never mind. We'll wait for another question. Oh yes, yeah. You were saying about the. I've had this inertia sander. I think that's Frederick. Yeah. I've had this inertia sander for 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and I've had no problem at all. It's got a bearing in there, and obviously I should imagine after a while the pads might start to disintegrate. I don't know. I haven't had a problem yet, but I found them to be excellent. I really do. And as I say, the extension arm is exactly the same principle, except it's a longer arm, and that also has a magnet in, as the small one does, and a bearing, and it's good. I find them very, very effective. I'm sorry I can't see what Gerard. You carry on in French, that's fine, but I can't speak French, so I can't understand what you're actually saying. Do they make smaller bits for the inertia sander for smaller openings? Yes, they do. The smallest one that Simon does is this little chappy here. Where are we? There. And I quite often use that in a drill, actually. And that one is the 37 mil basically, and I use that one quite often in a drill for doing the base of bowls, and goblets as well. You know, when you've parted off and you're trying to make it smooth. So they're very handy bits of kit, in my opinion. Gerard, Mike, is it a translation for Lionel? Oh right, okay. Oh, fine. Thanks, Gerard. Thank you very much. Danny Bellinger, do you clean your piece between grits? Yes, I do. Unless, funny enough, if I'm doing a bowl and I'm using an inertia sander, I don't always, and I don't know if it's because it's being spun off with the action of the head. I don't know. I do try and remember to do it when I'm using my inertia sander, but I don't always, and the same when I'm using a power drill. But if I'm hand sanding, I always clean in between. And obviously if I'm doing something like this piece, when I'm hand sanding the edges here, then yes, I will give it a quick blast with methylated spirits, or DNA, denatured alcohol as you call it over the pond. I think the big thing is that, it's like with most things, everybody has their own methods and their own techniques, and I always say this to get out of sort of answering a question, if you like, by saying if you ask a question to 10 wood turners, you'll get 13 different answers. Because everybody, if it works for you, it's the right way. I think people like myself who have had a little bit more experience and made a lot of mistakes, what we're doing is passing on information to the newer turner, which gives them more information to assess, more things to try out, and they will then hopefully come up with a process and a technique that suits them, suits their type of turning style and the type of things that they turn. But it's quite a daunting thing when you start, because there's so many different things, and everybody says, oh, this is the... I never say it's the only way to do anything. There are far more than one way to skin a cat, as we say here in the UK. But it's the lack of knowledge to be able to make a decision that the newer turner has. So the more information they get, the more chance they have of making an informed decision and going down a certain path. Quick question from Lionel. If you oil a piece, which size of sandpaper max do you use? If I'm oiling a piece, I will go to around 600. That is normal. I don't very often oil. What I do oil mainly are burrs and things like that, but I will go to 600. I don't see I've never gone above that. Maybe I should, I don't know. But if I'm oiling something, 400 to 600, 600 max, for me personally. Hi Les, This is a Simon Hope inertia sander. It's called a Pro Sander. He does that one, and as I say, this isn't a promotional video. This is the bits, the kit I use, and then there's the extension arm there, which is obviously a longer version of the short one. They're from Simon Hope, and he also does these very handy bits of kit which fit into your drill, and they have a little magnet in there, and then they hold the arbors in there. So yeah, very good. Can you please make another video on how to keep your workshop clean? Hello Tom. Mr. Scandian, how are you, my friend? God, I met Tom many years ago when I first started turning. Lovely fella. Living in Australia now, I believe, aren't you, Tom? Anyhow, yes, no, Tom, I won't. Wood-dude, hi, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, Wood-dude, how are you? I cannot believe there are 80 people here. It's incredible. Excuse me. As I say, the main reason for doing this is just to sort of say hi to everybody and let you get involved with each other. Right, hang on, I've missed a question from Neville Jones. Hello Harold Bowen, how are you? Hang on, I've lost you again, Neville. There we go. Quick question, Neville, sorry I missed it. Is it best to use sanding sealer before applying oils? No, in my opinion, not at all. The reason for sanding sealer is to penetrate the grain and to give a nice surface to apply your final finish of wax. With oil, the whole idea, in my opinion, of oil, I use Danish oil quite a bit, especially on burrs and things like that, is to allow the wood to absorb that oil. And it might take 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 applications, depending how thirsty areas of the wood are. And the whole idea is to saturate the wood with oil, because it does cure over time, obviously. So as you layer it up, it gives a really good, it feeds the wood, and then on the top, if you have excess, you wipe the excess off each time, and then when you have an even coating of oil, then you can let that cure properly, maybe even as long as a week. It depends on the environment in which it's kept, and then you can buff it up to a nice glow. Tom, hey Mike, can you please, oh sorry, I've missed that's what I went. Now I've gone back on the chat, so hang on a minute. Hi Barry, how are you? Hi Mike, the viewers. Hi Kevin. Miss T, with the Axeman sander, if you don't get the rotating head in properly, it will stick, and it's so and so to get out. I managed to get it out with the lever, and it's I'm not comparing different manufacturers. I have a lot of stuff from Axminster, which is superb. I've just found that Simon's inertia sander is top notch. It really is. It takes a lot of stick, and it works as well as the day as I first had it. Your videos, thank you, CH. Oh good, I'm glad it was of help to you. Harold, let me tell you something. The last thing you want to do is to aspire to my levels of skill. Hi Stace, how are you? Do exactly the opposite of what I do and you'll be okay, that's what I always say. Hi Joseph, how are you? I have to continue my job. Right, you carry on, Lionel. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you popping along. Enjoy your work. See you, Lionel. Wood Dude, question, do you personally provide a sanding service, as I've got a lot here that needs... Well, I'm sure we can come to some arrangements. Actually, like a lot of people don't like sanding. I'm not an over, you know, not a great fan of it. I can't say I can't wait to get sanding, but I find it quite therapeutic actually, and very frustrating sometimes because you think you've got it just right, and then you know I put a light on it very close to check because sometimes you can get little marks you don't see, and you've got to start again, you know. But you know that's all part of it. I honestly think that, and I've said it at the beginning of this, and I've said it many times, so many people don't spend enough time sanding and preparing the surface, especially if you know, I don't do much, if any, colouring, but that's even more true if you colour your work, because believe you me, that colour will pick up every little tiny blemish that possibly the eye can't see, because it soaks into that area that's not as good as it could be, and it makes it look, it spoils the whole effect. And the same with sanding sealer and wax. A number of times it's happened to me as well, and I look at it and I think, oh, I didn't see that, and you've got that tiny little blemish, you know, and it really is annoying, but it pays to spend time. Maggie, hello Maggie, how are you? Are you well? Hello Ian, in the shed, good afternoon, how are you? If anybody does have a question, just put QQ or a few Qs, hopefully it'll catch my eye, and I can answer it for you. Right, the home handyman, if you turn a vessel, what is a good way to take off the tenon on the bottom? Expansion in chuck jaws on a thin wall can split it easily. So what I do, excuse me, I will get some form of, this is for the home handyman, if I've got a vessel like that, for example, I will either, if you want to take off the tenon on the bottom, there are two ways of doing it. I will either use a parting tool up to a point, and then I'll use a pull saw to take it off, and then literally with a drill sander sand the base as I want it. I'll never put the piece back into a chuck or anything like that. The other option is to put have a friction drive, something like that if you like, with something like that on the end to get to the bottom, and then you can turn just to a tiny little nub. I actually invested quite a while ago in this bit of kit, again from Simon Hope, and that is, I won't go into the use of it as such, but you can see the idea, and you can make a bigger thing here. This will go down, this fits into your tailstock, and then that will go into the entry, and this is on it has a grub screw in there, and you can move this up and down, which will allow this to go to the bottom of the piece, hang on there, to the bottom of the piece, which will stabilize it. So but you can make your own excuse me, you can make your own friction drive, as I say, out of just a piece of doweling, because all you need is a small amount of pressure just to get that stability. I hope that answers it. Good afternoon Dave, give my love to Fee. Okay mate, you take care, enjoy your day. Tom, mate, I do love to send you some Australian wood to tin. I don't know how much wood you have stored, but if you'd like to try some, send me your address. That's very kind of you, Tom. I will do that in the near future. Frederick Day says he loves sanding, but quite often drops the piece off the lathe at the end, which is really annoying. I tell you what, I mean, I don't wear rings. I don't wear, this isn't going to go on YouTube, so I can have a vape and nobody can really complain. I'm not a fan of wearing jewellery, watches, it's just a personal thing, and rings, because I wear 2 rings normally, but when I used to wear a ring, I used to keep my wedding ring on and my signet ring, and quite often it's like having fingernails, you know, having long fingernails. A number of times you just come to the end of the last buff and you just catch your fingernail on the piece and you've got to strip it all off and start again. It's really annoying. That's very kind of you, Tom. Thank you. I will make a note of that and we'll be in touch. Morning, Rogue. How are you? Are you well? Les says, I've come to the conclusion that everyone has a PC set up in their workshops. I never used to, funny enough. I do used to, but I must forget the fact that I, you know, through lives and everything else, which obviously I've been doing since, I don't know, May time, I think, of last year. Yeah, it is handy, I'll be honest with you. It's very handy having it in here. And when I do some editing in here, or I just put what I'm doing a video at the moment. I must show you this. This is going to be an edited video. This is that you might have seen on social media. It's an 18.5-inch diameter piece of yew, which was given to me by a friend of mine when he came up with some spalted beech for me. But it's in a hell of a state, and it really was unfortunately not good enough to turn. I've been working on it on and off for about 3-4 weeks. It has got more CA glue, coffee ground, and now also some resin holding it together than almost there is yew. But it's got such lovely figure, and I've got a passion for yew anyway. I very rarely throw anything out with yew. It was a square slab. So I've had it off. The reason the video is taking so long is that I get down, I've got to do some more filling, and I've got to leave it overnight and so on. So it's been a long project. It's not one I've just been doing and nothing else, but it's quite strange how sometimes you just don't want to throw something away, you know. Alvaro, good afternoon to you, sir. Derek Meredith, good morning. Good morning, Derek. Yeah, a random pop for you and a random live for me. Okay, Tom, that's great, mate. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Danny Manager, would Abranet be your first choice for sandpaper? I'm confused about all the choices of sandpaper. Newbie here. Oh yeah, Danny. I have Abranet. I don't use it. It's good. I personally prefer to use as long as it's cloth backed. Ideally, I tend to use the discs. This is a small disc, but I've got 75mm discs as well, and they've got the not sticky back. They've got the hook on the back, and they fit onto Velcro basically, and that's what I use for most of my sanding. That type of abrasive. Nothing wrong with Abranet, but I just don't. Abranet's okay, but on smaller stuff sometimes it's surprising, like finials for example. If you're not very careful, it'll catch. So I just prefer using that sort of abrasive. I hope that answers your question. In furniture and cabinet sanding, we used to try to get a shine lights, off the surface of the piece to pick up scratches, and yeah, that's very true, Harold. And you are a cabinet maker, aren't you? Yeah. It really depends. I think the finish, the actual finish that you achieve, it depends on how long you're going to spend on it. There are a lot of there's a lot of advice in having a quick finish. You know, we'll get this. To get a proper finish takes a long time. I'll tell you something, off-piste if you like for a little bit. Cindy Drozder, who is the High Priestess of finials and fine wood turning and finishes, etc. She's my idol, one of my 3 or 4 idols that I absolutely aspire to. She gave me heart once when she said on one of her lives I watched many months ago now, that she will sometimes spend as long as 2.5 hours fine tuning with 400 or 600 to get that perfect form that she's looking for. Now, if sanding to get a good shape is good enough for Cindy Drozder, it's certainly good enough for me. Chris Dodds. Hi Chris, well dude, if you need a cheap rotary sanding tool, Eddie Castlin has a great video on one. Yeah, you can make anything, you know, I mean, you can make anything yourself. Yes, you can. Right, guys, back up the ladder. Okay, Di, you take care, mate, and don't fall off that ladder of yours. Richard Hart, what would you recommend tool-wise for a beginner wood turner? That is something that is a very open question. My advice would be go for a decent quality set from a manufacturer, someone like Robert Sorby, Henry Taylor. See what they have on there, have a look online as well, and guess your basic tools, your basic spindle gouge, a 3/8 spindle gouge, a 3/8 bowl gouge, a scraper. A skew chisel is not essential, but yes, and a spindle roughing gouge, and that will get, you can turn 90% of what you want to turn with that. The Rogue Rock, Mr. Walt, have you ever turned myrtle wood? No. No, I've never turned myrtle wood. Yes, I certainly would, sir. If you get in touch with me, we'll have a chat on Messenger. That's very kind of you, I do appreciate that. I'll make a video of me messing it up for you. That's very kind. Mike, Mr. Richard, you might like to look at the Yandle's own brand starter set. Yeah, exactly, Mike. The Yandle's, a lot of people do, Axminster do them. They do a starter set, and that is a pretty good general coverage of tools that you'll need when you're beginning. Morning, John Derrick, how are you? Hodgepodge, oh yes, Cindy's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, she is. I'm going to have a vape because I would say this isn't going to go on to YouTube. Hi Stuart, how are you? Right, 10 more minutes guys, and I'm going to be making a move. I'd like to thank everybody that's turned up, it's been great. I've only done it, I'm really just indulging myself. I just thought, get a few people together, have a chat. You can catch up with each other in the chat as well. So the job's a good one in that respect. Bob Osterberg, good morning, how are you Bob? Are you well? Yep, John, you can, that's brilliant, yeah, that's a good thing. Oh, Ian Chappell, quick question. I was looking at older vids of yours and saw one on colouring. Was this spam? Yeah, I have done one colour, I think one, maybe two colour, one colouring video, yeah, I have. I've got this reputation for not liking colour. That's not strictly true. I love some of the stuff that people do. In fact, I'm going to watching a demonstration on colouring tonight. But I just don't get it. I've got the stuff, but I just don't get into it, you know, personally. But I will do it every now and again. That's very kind of you, thank you. Okay, Danny, you take care, mate. Give my regards to Quebec as well. Okay, mate, you take care. Thanks for popping in, appreciate it. See you, Kevin. All the best, mate. Harold Bowen, great to see you. Yeah, great to see you as well. That would be superb, Harold. I would look forward to that. I'll put the kettle on now. You take care. Cheers. Afternoon, CDA. Yeah, you do. I'll tell you, these things, I've 8 years now. 8 years. Still addicted, but yes, Stuart. I was thinking of doing, I don't know if you pop along tonight to the 360, but I was thinking of using the gold embellishing wax tonight. Trying to upstage Martin. Oh, that's nice, Steve. Surely you've got better things to do than watch me. You could look out the window or something. Well, that's been good. I've enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else has had an opportunity to catch up with your online friends. I'll leave it till 1:30, and then I'm going to make a move. Jeff Webb, good afternoon to you. How are you, sir? Ian Chappell, how's Stuart Farini? I'm not sure. I haven't had any contact with Stuart. I know he was unwell. That's where they cancelled his demo last Saturday. I've heard nothing, which is good news sometimes. Good news is, no news is good news. All the best, Tony. Thanks for popping in, mate. Appreciate it. That's all right, Bob. You take care. Have a good day, my friend. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Les. Steve, now I have my eye glued on the screen all morning looking at program code. Just nice to switch off. Yeah, I believe you, Steve. Yeah, that must make your head spin. Robert, Dr. Bob, that is so very kind of you, sir. Give me your address and the cheque will be in the mail. Mark Smith, hi Mark. Off to work. Okay, that's very nice of you. Take care, mate. Enjoy your day. I'm not even going to answer. I'm not 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Cool, that's cold. Adrian Olson, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you? I'm not answering that either, Joseph. Yeah. Just the diehards left now. Mind you, 76 diehards isn't bad, is it, really? I hope you don't think I'm being too indulgent doing these things. It's just I was doing some sanding and getting a bit bored with it, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll just go live and just see if there's anybody on there. A few people have had a few questions answered this morning, so basically my job is done. Four degrees, cool. That's cold, Bob. Yeah, it's about 14 degrees C here at the moment. It's not warm, but home handyman, turning mesquite wood, which is kind of porous, so after sanding to 150 I apply sanding sealer, 3 coats, sanding between coats, yeah, then sand 223, yeah. What do you think of wipe on poly? I have got no opinion on wipe on poly. I've never used it. I'm almost ashamed to say. Carl Jacobson uses wipe on poly quite a bit, the satin, but I can't answer that, I'm afraid. Home handyman, I've failed you. Take care, Steve. All the best, mate. Thanks for popping in. Well, there's not a lot to see here, Barry, really. It's just having an informal chat, really. For the guys that are on, I was thinking, Zoom. And I do use Zoom quite a lot, not to actually demonstrate with, but having said that, I was having, if you don't pay a fee, you can have up to 100 people for 40 minutes. So I was wondering what you guys thought about possibly having a bit of a Zoom meeting one day in the future. Not sure when, whether that would be an option, just for a question and answer thing where you can actually look somebody in the face and answer their questions. It might be an idea, I don't know. Think about it and let me know. Not necessarily in the comments, but send me a message or leave something on my YouTube channel in the community section. It's just something I was thinking about. Time for you to go. Yeah, okay, Ian, you take care, mate. Thanks for popping in. Alright, Bob Osterberg is saying that wipe on poly works great on stuff that doesn't need to be food safe. Again, I've had many discussions on this. I'm a firm believer that everything, once cured, not necessarily dry, is food safe. But that is a sweeping statement. Obviously, there are exceptions. Derek, yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll have to think about it and see how I'd play it, because obviously I've got to get the links to people, etc. I could do that. I could do that on Facebook, I think, and I could put it in my community thing on YouTube. I'll have to think about that. Maybe in a month or so we'll have a think about doing that. Because I also thought when I do a live demo, which unfortunately aren't very regular at the moment, that you can have a sort of a Q&A on the Zoom afterwards, but I don't know. I'll have to see. I think that would be brilliant. Might get to see everyone and have a good chat. Perhaps the pre-announced theme. Yes, I think that was a good idea, Adrian. I'll have a think about it. Oh yes, I agree, John. It'd have to. Yes, someone would have to control it. That's why I've sort of shied away from it a bit, really. But we'll see. Oh, okay, Dr. Bob. I'll do that. I'll make a note of that. Dr. Bob. Okay, Rob, we'll do that. Right, guys, it's nearly 1:30. I've got to go in for my lunch now. Well, again, thank you all very much for turning up. I really appreciate it, and I'm always astounded and humiliated, if you like. Humiliated? No, that's not really the word. Humbled, humiliated. That so many of you pop along on these impromptus. I thoroughly enjoy them. It gives me a chance to chat to friends from all over the world, and it gives you a chance to have a chat to me and also to your mates on here. Okay, all the best, Stuart. I'm going as well. Thank you all very much. I'll see some of you tonight, no doubt, with Martin, and I'll see you later. You take care now. Stay safe. Cheers.